Jai Gurudev, and thank you for joining us today to explore the profound wisdom shared by His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji on Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is one of the most important and significant schools of Indian philosophy. Could you start by explaining Gurudev's perspective on this philosophy? Absolutely. Gurudev has often explained Advaita Vedanta as a philosophy of non duality, which essentially teaches that the true nature of reality is one indivisible whole. He beautifully simplifies this profound concept by saying that at the deepest level, we are all part of the same consciousness. In many of his talks and writings, he emphasizes that the separation we perceive in life between individuals, between objects, and even between ourselves and the divine is an illusion created by the mind. That's such a simple yet profound insight. How does Gurudev convey this understanding to his followers in practical terms? Gurudev emphasizes that Advaita is not just an intellectual concept to be understood, but a living reality to be experienced. He often says that our mind is the barrier that creates duality, and through practices like Sudarshan Kriya, meditation, and pranayama, we can quiet the mind and experience the oneness that Advaita speaks of. In silence and meditation, one transcends the dualities of pain and pleasure, success and failure, and begins to experience the self as pure consciousness beyond any distinction. How does this philosophy align with the daily spiritual practices that Gurudev recommends, like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation? According to Gurudev, these practices help cleanse the layers of impressions that cloud our perception. Through Sudarshan Kriya, for instance, one's breath connects with the rhythm of the universe. This rhythmic breathing purifies the mind and reduces stress, allowing practitioners to experience the unity of life. The mind becomes more subtle, and the experience of non duality or oneness becomes natural. In this state, the individual self merges with the universal self, which is a key realization in Advaita Vedanta. It is fascinating how Gurudev ties this ancient philosophy to modern spiritual practices. Could you elaborate on how he explains the concept of Maya or illusion within the framework of Advaita? Yes, Gurudev frequently speaks about Maya, which in Advaita refers to the illusory nature of the world. He says that while the world and its phenomena appear real to us, they are fleeting and ever changing, just like dreams. What is eternal is the consciousness or the self. He gives a practical analogy: just as waves are not separate from the ocean, our thoughts, emotions, and the world we experience are not separate from one consciousness. However, due to Maya, we get caught in the illusion of separateness. The practice of mindfulness, meditation, and self inquiry, as Gurudev suggests, help to peel away the layers of Maya, revealing the truth of Advaita that we are all part of one undivided existence. That's a very helpful analogy. Gurudev has also spoken about love and compassion being natural expressions of Advaita Vedanta. How does he explain this? According to Gurudev, when you truly realize the non dual nature of reality, the boundaries between me and you dissolve. What follows naturally is love and compassion because you see others as an extension of yourself. He often says that love is not something you do, it is what you are. In the state of Advaita, where there is no other, love and compassion flow effortlessly because you recognize that harming another would be like harming yourself. This is why Gurudev emphasizes that the realization of Advaita leads to a more compassionate, harmonious world. That really puts the philosophy into a more relatable context. How does Gurudev integrate the teachings of Advaita Vedanta into his global initiatives, particularly in addressing issues like stress, conflict, and social challenges? Gurudev has always been a strong advocate for personal transformation as a foundation for societal change. He believes that when individuals realize their interconnectedness, as Advaita Vedanta teaches, they naturally contribute to peace and harmony in their surroundings. And his global initiatives, whether it is conflict resolution in war-torn areas, stress relief programs for the corporate sector, or education and health projects for rural development, Gurudev's approach is rooted in the philosophy of non-duality. He often speaks about how stress, violence, and conflict arise from perception of separateness, and how a shift to the understanding of oneness can dissolve these issues at their root. It's inspiring to see how this ancient wisdom is applied in such modern practical contexts. Can you share any published research or scientific findings that support Gurudev's teachings on Advaita Vedanta, particularly in relation to stress relief and well being? Yes, there is a growing body of research that supports the effectiveness of practices like meditation and Sudarshan Kriya, which are integral to Gurudev's teachings on Advaita Vedanta. For example, studies published in the international journals have shown that Sudarshan Kriya significantly reduces stress, anxiety, and depression and improves overall well being. These practices calm the nervous system and bring the mind into the present moment, aligning with the Advaita concept of transcending the ego and duality. Additionally, research in neuroscience has shown how meditation can change brain structure and function, fostering a sense of unity and interconnectedness, which is the essence of Advaita. That is fascinating. As we conclude, how would you summarize the significance of Gurudev's contributions to making Advaita Vedanta accessible to modern audiences? Gurudev has made the timeless wisdom of Advaita Vedanta accessible and practical for people of all backgrounds. He bridges the gap between ancient philosophy and modern life by simplifying complex ideas and offering tools like meditation and breathwork that make the realization of oneness an experiential reality. His teachings remind us that Advaita Vedanta is not just a theory, but a living practice that can transform individuals and society at large. Thank you so much for sharing these insights. It's been a truly enriching conversation about Gurudev's profound wisdom on Advaita Vedanta. My pleasure. It's always a joy to discuss Gurudev's teachings and their impact on our lives. Jai Gurudev, and thank you for joining us today to discuss His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji's teachings on Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is a central part of Indian philosophy. How does Gurudev interpret this ancient wisdom in the context of modern life? Jai Gurudev, and thank you for having me. His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji has a unique ability to simplify complex philosophies like Advaita Vedanta for people to relate to and practice in their everyday lives. Advaita means non duality, the idea that the individual soul or Atman and the universal consciousness, the Brahman, are not separate but one. Gurudev explains that this understanding is not merely intellectual but experiential. His teachings focus on how this realization of oneness can help individuals overcome personal suffering and lead to a harmonious society. Gurudev often mentions that Advaita Vedanta is not just a philosophy to study, but a reality to live. How does he suggest we can realize this non dual nature? That's right, Gurudev emphasizes that the non duality of Advaita Vedanta can be realized through certain practices and shifts in awareness. He often says that the mind is the main barrier that creates a sense of separation. Through spiritual practices such as Sudarshan Kriya, meditation, and pranayama, the mind becomes calm and clear. When the fluctuations of the mind settle, we naturally start to experience the oneness that Advaita speaks of. Gurudev encourages people to practice mindfulness and self inquiry, to go beyond the identification with the body and mind and to recognize the limitless consciousness that pervades everything. Can you explain how Gurudev relates the concept of Maya or illusion to our daily lives? According to Gurudev, Maya refers to the illusion of duality, the perception that we are separate from the world and others. In daily life, we get caught in this illusion thinking we are different from one another due to our bodies, roles, and identities. Gurudev uses a simple analogy: just as waves appear distinct but are part of the same ocean, we appear separate but are actually one with the universal consciousness. He explains that our thoughts, emotions, and even the material world are transient and not the ultimate reality. By realizing this, we can free ourselves from suffering and stress caused by attachment to these fleeting experiences. How does this understanding of Advaita help in reducing stress and improving mental well being, which is a major concern today? Gurudev teaches that much of our stress comes from the sense of separation and individuality. When we feel disconnected, we experience fear, insecurity, and stress. The practices he promotes, especially Sudarshan Kriya and meditation, help people transcend these limited identifications and experience oneness. Scientific research has shown that Sudarshan Kriya reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases the release of serotonin, which promotes well being. By calming the mind and moving beyond the ego, we naturally experience a state of peace and unity, which is the essence of Advaita. That's a powerful connection between ancient philosophy and modern science. Could you share some specific insights from Gurudev's teachings on love and compassion in the context of Advaita? Gurudev beautifully explains that once you understand Advaita, love and compassion become natural. When you no longer see others as separate from yourself, love flows without effort. In his words, love is not something you do, it is what you are. He teaches that when we recognize that we are all part of the same universal consciousness, we automatically begin to act with more compassion towards others because we see ourselves in them. This recognition dissolves hatred, anger, and jealousy, which are products of dualistic thinking. That's a beautiful explanation. How does Gurudev apply Advaita Vedanta in addressing larger societal issues such as conflict resolution or community building? Gurudev firmly believes that inner peace leads to outer peace. He often says that the root cause of conflict, whether at an individual or societal level, is the perception of separation. Advaita Vedanta teaches that once we realize our interconnectedness, conflict naturally dissolves. This understanding forms the foundation of many of his global initiatives, including his work in conflict resolution, disaster relief, and peace building. For example, Gurudev has mediated in conflict zones and between warring parties with remarkable success because he operates from a place of non duality where he sees no enemy, no other. Advaita Vedanta traditionally has been seen as a lofty and abstract concept. How does Gurudev make it accessible to people from different walks of life and belief systems? Gurudev's ability to make Advaita Vedanta accessible to all is one of his greatest contributions. He teaches that you don't have to be a scholar or a monk to experience Advaita. His approach is practical and inclusive. Whether you are a student, a business professional, or a householder, he provides simple tools like breathing techniques, meditation, and mindfulness that allow people to experience unity in their everyday lives. By engaging people in selfless service, he also teaches that action can be a part to realizing Advaita. When you serve others without expecting anything in return, you transcend the ego and experience the interconnectedness of all life. Speaking of practical tools, can you share some research or studies that validate the benefits of these practices, particularly in relation to Advaita Vedanta? Yes, there have been several studies published in scientific journals that validate the benefits of Gurudev's techniques such as Sudarshan Kriya and meditation. These studies show significant reductions in anxiety, depression, and PTSD, and improvements in emotional resilience and mental clarity. One study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry highlighted that participants who practiced Sudarshan Kriya experienced measurable changes in brain function, including reduced activity in the areas associated with stress and anxiety. These findings support the idea that by calming the mind, we can begin to experience the oneness that Advaita Vedanta teaches. That's a wonderful bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science. As we wrap up, how would you summarize Gurudev's contributions to making Advaita Vedanta relevant for contemporary society? Gurudev has done something remarkable by making Advaita Vedanta not just an intellectual pursuit, but a living reality for millions of people around the world. He has shown that this ancient philosophy is not reserved for a select few but is accessible to all who are willing to look within. His teachings and techniques help people experience unity in their daily lives, breaking down the barriers of religion, race, and nationality. His work in the areas of mental health, community building, and global peace is a testament to the practical applications of Advaita Vedanta in modern society. Thank you so much for sharing these deep insights into Gurudev's teachings. It's been truly enlightening to learn how Advaita Vedanta under Gurudev's guidance is shaping the world today. It was my pleasure. Advaita Vedanta is a path to realizing our highest potential, and Gurudev has given us the tools to walk that path with clarity and compassion. Jai Gurudev.